All right, boom, we're live. GM everybody. So, it's another batch analysis, and honestly, I was a little bit on the verge of doing this video because this has been the worst week for me so far. But hey, I gotta be honest with myself, it's all part of the process, right? So, I already know the results. There's quite a few trades, and that by itself is quite possibly not the best thing. Reason for that is we all know that like all the funded members, all the successful traders, they say the same thing. Less trades, less quality trades equals better results, right? And that's really something I should stick to. Uh, I have a lot of trades, man. Like how many is this? I can probably just go ahead and check in my Notion. Let's go over here. This week, okay, so 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 21 trades. That's a lot. I'm going to try to go over them a bit faster than I normally do. But yeah, uh, the overall results are minus 10R. It's a little bit unfortunate. I will be making one change after like 5 weeks of being unhappy with trades, very often going to 5R and a bit beyond, but not reaching 6. If I was taking profit at 5R for these last 4 weeks, I would be bathing in riches, all right? But you will see in these trades that so many times there are trades that like barely don't reach my TP and go all the way back to break even. That just sucks a little bit. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look. So this week, I really focused on using alerts, which worked well. I wanted to not trade deep pullbacks. I did not want to trade after weak stage twos. These stay the same. These are all really important, and they always will be important. Do not hesitate, of course. I'd rather, like, a loss is just a loss, right? It's always a minus one. I'd rather take a minus one than lose on a plus six. So technically, that's a minus six of my overall EV, and I do not want that. And do only trade my setups. Okay. I did recently make a little bit of a refinement with my entry, and I think that by itself might be the culprit. Well, it's hard to say if that's the culprit why I saw such a terrible week. I just feel like this new type of entry that I had, it opened up many more trade opportunities to me on the E, and that's not necessarily a good thing. So I already know that this is something I'm going to be troubleshooting, and I might go back to simply entering those super clean MBs that I did back when I had the one-on-one with Anton, like those MBs that are very proportional. Those were really good. Basically, I think I need some additional rule on the E that allows me to filter stuff more because the way I enter right now, I can pretty much get an entry in every single VMMB, and that's not good. I want to filter more. Anyway, let's get into it. So, I did I did eye surgery on Monday, so I wasn't trading, and I went over those trades and I saw that there was a beautiful trade on Jer 30 that I didn't take. So let's just go quickly through that. So here you can see by the EMAs there was some ongoing bullish market that then falls down pretty deep. So at this point I really need a stage one and a breakout, which happens here. Nice stage one, very well defined resistance over here. Then it breaks out here, and I don't know if I was already watching for anything here. I'm not sure. What matters is that here it broke out, started going sideways a little bit. What happened? Okay, started going sideways a little bit, and then eventually broke out higher over here with big momentum, leaving behind inefficiency. This is beautiful context for sure. So if I take a look at the 6 minute, right, this is the push. Push is beautiful, really strong. Uh, in an area where we already expect money to come in, right? So here on the 1 minute, we have this push. Not necessarily the most beautiful push overall, but there is some inefficiency left behind, especially in the beginning part. Like there is momentum, there is impulsivity. So I think this is completely fine. And once it flushes out below the tunnel towards the 50, once it flushes out, I'm totally valid to take my entries, right? And here it flushes out. This is a 1 minute entry, I believe, and then we get this push. 1, 2 resting candles. I'm totally valid to take this trade, and I do. It goes up a little bit, chops around, not enough strength for me to break even, and then I think I can see that over here. Yep, on this candle, that's proof enough to me that this, if this comes back, I should not be in this trade, and that delivers beautifully. I reduce risk completely on this candle, and that goes to +6. Really nice trade overall. I think this trade was pretty much perfect. Yeah, I think it was perfect. And even if, like, let's say I start using my previous approach of symmetrical MBs, the MB is not symmetrical, proportional. The MBs are proportional. I like this trade a lot. This trade was good. So I think that was perfect. Just gonna label it up. Yeah, I can't really accept the call. And yeah, I didn't take it because I wasn't trading on this day. So good context, good momentum, and good entry. Management was perfect as well. Alright, moving on. Let's try to get this a little bit faster this time. So, continuation on Jur 30. So, you can see this is another day, by the way. So, this push over here where we entered continued higher, and then it pulled back to the rising EMAs. And yeah, this is beautiful context, absolutely prime context to trade. Here on the 6 minute, we have some kind of push, right? Well, actually, let's first talk about this. This is the flush, right? The flush is over here. Quite a deep flush, so I definitely wanted to see some strength come in and some stage 1 as well. So the stage 1 for me is defined by this resistance. Breaks above. I started looking for some entries over here, didn't get anything, and then it starts chopping. I'm no longer interested in this range at all. But here it looks like it's breaking out, and my expectation, of course, is that this is going to go higher. So as this breaks out and pulls back, I'm very happy to look for an entry. And here it breaks out, pulls back just a tiny little bit below the EMAs, but that's okay. And here, I think this was not good. I think this was not enough strength. I looked at it on the 10 second as well, I guess. Yeah. Mm, right. This is a 10 second entry, of course, because it pulls back into the rising EMAs. So I take a look at the 10 second. All of this is looking pretty good. The stage 2 here is pretty good. You can see a lot of inefficiency, a lot of big candles. I do like that. And then it does this. So let's take a look if I make this. What the hell just happened? Okay, that's horrible. Oh, let me draw it just like this. Okay. So are these proportional? Uh, hello, can I move it, please? Okay, I can. Yeah. So this would be invalid, strictly based on the fact that I don't like when it loses the EMAs and then starts trading below. If it just like lost it and immediately pumped, that would be nice. But all of this price action over here was not supposed to be there. This was supposed to do this, and then it would be a nice entry. But this, nah, I don't like this. This is not the type of DMB that I enjoy. So I'm gonna label that as a mistake, strictly on the E. Everything else is pretty good. And yeah, I totally forgot to do these. So good context. Good momentum. Good momentum here as well. And perfect EMB. Also, it was a 1 minute entry. Okay. Same thing is gonna go to here because this all looks exactly the same. Here we definitely had good momentum on the 1 minute, but the entry itself is where I made a mistake, and it's an ugly DMB. And why? Simply because MB2 dropped below EMAs. And that is going to be a mistake. So I'm expecting quite a few of these mistakes here. We'll see. So good context, good momentum, good momentum. This is a 10-second entry, right? Yes. And ugly, well, bad entry. Why is it bad? MB, do I have a reason here? Is it because MB2 is overall too big? It's not necessarily. So MB2 lost EMAs. I'm gonna call it that. Make that red. Okay. I'm gonna group all of these MB2 thingies together. Cool. So that's the reason. Alright. Overall, that is a mistake. And it's because of an ugly entry. Cool. Moving on, another trade on J30. So I think this is on the same day. So let's just take a look what happened here. Okay, so on the 6 minute, previously we had this, right? It's the pullback towards the EMAs. Looks like it pulls a little bit further. We can see that on the 1 minute, the price developing, right? So this was the original entry, but instead it starts going sideways like this. So that creates the 6 minute MMB over here, and I'm valid to trade 1 minute MBs. This is a 1 minute entry. So here, I guess it's pretty clear that this would be an MB. So, so yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? My MB should look something like this, and it really doesn't. It really, really doesn't. This doesn't look good whatsoever. If I was looking at something like a containment line as well, this would be below. So many reasons why this is not a good trade. Simply because of the entry. And honestly, I expect most of my trades this week to be bad because of the entry, because I was meddling a bit with my entry criteria, and that was simply, yeah, it was not good. I should not have done that. But hey, it's still on forward test. It's valuable experience. So I'm not going to be too harsh at myself. But I definitely need to take this seriously. And basically, I need to backtest a little bit more and figure out how exactly do I want to enter. I got, like, my mind got a little bit baffled with all the directional trigger candle entries. I got a little bit inspired by that, and I was like, oh man, the DTC seems like such a good entry because I can enter sooner and I can be in every move and blah blah blah. And while that is nice and true, I don't necessarily want to be in every move because not every move is going to deliver, right? And I feel like I already had a really, really good working formula for my entries, and I don't really understand why I stepped away from it. And this is a mistake that many people do, that they just over refine something that already works. And I definitely just did that mistake. The important part is that I will realize it very quickly. It's only been a week, maybe two, and I will very quickly revert back to what I was doing because it was working nicely. So, yeah, just some thoughts regarding that. Ugly entry. So, yeah, this is a mistake as well. As I said, I'm expecting a lot of mistakes on the E. Good momentum. A bad entry. Why is it a bad entry? Well, I don't know. ugly MB2. I guess I can call it that. Yeah, ugly MB2. That's what I should also do here. MB2 too high, lost EMAs. Uh, yeah, it should. All of this should just literally say ugly MB2, and I should delete these, but whatever. So this was a 1 minute entry, so overall that's going to be a mistake because the entry was ugly. Alright, moving on. We got some Euro USD stuff. And I didn't take this one. Why? Why not? Don't know why I didn't take it. But didn't take. Cool. So let's take a look. This is a beautiful context. Absolutely beautiful. We can see that the EMAs are like a little bit sideways over here, and I can see that I had some stage 1 over here defined, but here it breaks out, pulls back into the rising EMAs and starts moving away from it. Absolutely beautiful. On the 6 minute, we can see that this momentum cycle fails, so I'm expecting some kind of stage 1 here in the box, and now we have a breakout out of that stage 1, and here I take a look. Okay, so all of this is the stage 1, and probably this push has an accumulation MB over here, MMB1, MMB2, MMB3. This is MMB4, so I should still be valid to trade this. And here, what do we have? We have a very nice strong stage 2 that accelerates away from the EMAs, leaves behind inefficiency, big strong candles, very nice, flushes out, and here, let's see, it creates the MB, so let's just draw it in. Okay, this is the MB, and if I take a look, yeah, it's not the best necessarily, but it has a few resting candles. Overall, this is a nice pause, very strong MB1 validation. I think this was a beautiful, beautiful trade. Absolutely beautiful. Actually, like what I probably can do is I can probably draw the MB like this because that's the actual MB from which it came. So just for it to make a bit more sense. And this, yeah, all of a sudden this makes way more sense. And yeah, this is where the move came from. This is beautiful. This is such a nice entry. And I think this trade was perfect. And this is one of those that just goes to whatever this is, 5.9R, and then comes all the way back, which sucks. If I was taking I already said that. If I was taking profit at 5, I would have done so well. But yeah, even then, this one I didn't take. But I think it was a perfect trade. I really like this trade a lot. Alright, so good context, good momentum. It's 10-second entry, isn't it? So good momentum on 1 minute, yeah, and good entry on 10-second. Overall, this was a perfect trade. And max RR, I don't know, something around 5.8. Okay, and one sec. Which one was that? Huh? Did I just derp? What happened? Jer, was it this trade? Where did this trade go? Okay, wait a second. I'm a little bit confused here. Is this trade? Oh, okay. Okay, it's this trade. So I marked up the wrong one. My bad. My bad. Oh, okay. I see. I see. I see. I didn't take this one because I went to the toilet and it's set up. Okay. I was filling up the wrong entry over here. So good momentum, good entry. Management-wise, if I had taken it, I would have reduced risk over here. I probably could have reduced over here already. Didn't have to wait for this, but I did. And then let's see, what does it actually do? Yeah, then it creates this high. I could have been completely risk-free over here already, but it's all good. It's all good. Well, still perfect. So, what do I need to do here? Probably nothing. So that's that. And here, I need to fill this out again because this is a different entry. My bad. Oh my god. Misclick. Okay, now let's go ahead. Oh, actually, I also need to do this. Good context and good momentum, definitely makes sense. This was a stage 1 expansion on good momentum. Stage 1 expansion. I think I made a misclick. Yep. Expansion. Let me zoom in a little bit on good momentum. Yes, sir. Good momentum over here and perfect DMB over here. Yeah. Okay, moving on. EU. What happened over here? Okay, I see. So I took this entry and honestly, this was probably overextended. I don't know exactly what I saw back then and what kind of count I was uh, keeping in mind here regarding MMBs, but like expecting 6R here was very unreasonable in my opinion. Like this was an edge case by itself already for 6R, but yeah, it didn't deliver, right? So I think this was overextended. I should not have traded this. It's exactly the same over here. So I can copy all of this. And very simply, I'm just going to say that this is overextended on the 1 minute. Boop. So there is good momentum, that is true, but it's overextended. And I know I don't think I took a lot of overextended trades. It's very, very rare for me to do that, but this was definitely one of them. I think I saw this beautiful, beautiful moment. Like, look at the V, man. Like, ugh. Expecting even more from this is a bit ridiculous. I should have waited for a flush and then started something over here. And the entry itself, I think the entry was pretty good, wasn't it? So this would be the MB. Actually, let me draw it a bit bigger. So this was the MB. Just take a look if it was similar. Yep, that was similar size above the EMAs. Very nice. The entry itself was beautiful. I would say that was perfect. But unfortunately, it was overextended on the 1 minute V here, which makes it a mistake. Let me also count the MBs here. So this is definitely the accumulation MB. This would be MMB1, MMB2, MMB. Well, I mean, I would say this is MMB3, but maybe it isn't. That's probably what I saw here, yeah. Then I saw this is MMB3, and I thought, okay, this is probably MMB4. But given the fact that I'm trading fixed TP with 6R, that's quite a lot. I should probably, in general, avoid MMB4 entries because I really need to get a crazy, crazy extension on the market for it to hit my target. So it's almost guaranteed to take break evens. So yeah. Anyway, let me sip my coffee a bit. Nice. Okay. So well deserved -1, definitely. Let's take a look. So good context, good momentum, and this is ugly because it's overextended. Yeah, I don't even have that option here. Overextended. Boom. Cool. 10 seconds was beautiful though. And management wise, so let's take a look. Oh yeah, there's nothing to do. It's a -1. So cool, cool. That was, I did actually take this one and it was a mistake. And it was a mistake because it's overextended. Do I have that option here? Nope. I'm gonna have to write it. Overextended. Boom. Cool. Moving on, we got another EU trade. So let's see what kind of development we have had since then. Okay, so it's another day, it seems. So here we have the stage 1. That's this stage 1 over here, right? Then it breaks out, comes all the way back. So in order for me to be viable to trade, I will need some kind of stage one and a breakout. And I define that stage one by simply putting this supply line on, or supply over here. That is from the last wave down. There's also a nice stage one over here, right? And here we have a breakout. So I want to see what this breakout looks like. So here, I don't trade here just yet, as I said, because of the supply. Also, like, these huge cells would not allow me to trade. If we take a look at the 10 second, like, whatever these shenanigans are, that's not really nice. I would want to see this break out higher above this high. And it does, and then it pulls back towards the EMAs. So I want to really see how this push here looks like. And this push, in my opinion, looks beautiful. You can see a lot of big chunky candles to the upside. It's a little bit wicky, tiny little bit, like these wicks over here are not the best, but I still think this qualifies as a very strong stage 2. Then it pulls back, flushes below the 20, right? And here I was looking for an entry. So I would say the MB overall was probably this whole thing. Not probably, definitely. And here, yeah, that looks quite nice. So I would say this trade was really, really nice. And I think it's a break even, or okay, it's a minus 0.1. Reason for that, simply because this I reduced my risk. I'm already starting to apply the kind of spread that I get on Mint funding rather than FXCM, which is my regular forward test. On FXCM, I would be taking like a minus 0.2, minus 0.3, something like that on this, because the spread difference is huge. But on Mint funding, EU is a simple one tick spread. So it's literally the tiniest spread. So I might even drop this entire rule of reducing risk twice, and I might just reduce it completely. But yeah, here I just reduced risk twice basically. Well, I intended to. So the first one was the intended entry, and the second risk reduction is to where I actually got tapped in, which is just one tick above, right? So it's not a big difference. So this is even less than minus 0.1. It's just a tiny little spread loss. And I think this trade was amazing. I really like this trade a lot. So the context over here is the same for sure. And actually, it's also the same on the V. The V is the same as well. Here we had a stage 1 expansion before, right? And we have a stage 1 expansion again. So it's a different stage 1, yeah, but it's overall really nice. Oh, and I should really start putting these labels somewhere over here, because I started using this little watermark so that I can always find the trades when they were. So yeah, stage 1, expansion, good momentum, everything is good here. Very good momentum on the 1 minute as well, and the entry itself I think was a perfect DMB. So this trade is perfect in my opinion. Let's fill it out. Everything gets to be yellow here, just the way I like it. And yep, that's perfect. Cool. Moving on, we got another JR30, and I didn't take this because I had no time to set up the order. I see, I remember. This was during the same time as trading EU, I believe. And I was watching EU, and I simply didn't have enough time to set this up. So let's see. Last JR30 trade was over here. This is the kind of context we had. What kind of context do we have over here now? Okay, we have this. Cool. So before that, we were somewhere over here. We broke out. We were looking for trades to continue this higher, but it starts chopping, creates a distribution, and fails its momentum cycle. Here, I would expect some kind of stage 1 or whatever. Doesn't quite happen. I mean, yeah, there is some kind of stage 1 over here for sure, but isn't really important because we get a completely new range. We get a nice, beautiful breakout with big momentum. And yeah, let's see how that looks like on the 1 minute. This is ugly as fuck. Really ugly. And then all of a sudden it has this. So right away, I'm gonna say I should not have traded this for the very simple reason that it had this preceding price action, which will ultimately make this a little bit overextended, I think, and I would call this a blow-off top. Now, blow-off top is not necessarily something Anton teaches or whatever, but it's a well-respected concept, I think. Simply what it is the final extension of a move, and after that it usually fails. So if you have, let's say, waves that go up like this, an uptrend that looks something like this, and then all of a sudden you have this, I should not be trading this with the expectation to go higher. Like, the expectation here is that this move is most likely finished, and now it needs to do some kind of reaccumulation, whatever, and maybe build up again. But this, I FOMO'd into. I definitely FOMO'd into this. I should not have taken it. But either way, like, if this thing happened over here, let me actually do a little bit of shenanigans here. If this happened, say, over here, I would be all over this trade. That would be beautiful. But that didn't happen. It happened at the very, very end of a move. An ugly move on top of that. Like, this just drags itself up. It's not really what I like to see. I would have liked to see this from the beginning. But if that happened, let's just take a look, theoretically, if this entry would be nice. And I would say it's really nice, to be honest. So here, the MB, the last MB, actually, it's questionable. It's very, very questionable. Like, maybe this. If it was this, even then, it's questionable. It's too long. It lost its EMAs. The EMAs are flat. Like, ideally, this would have worked here, where it would tap me in right here, right? So this would be the beautiful MB1 validation. Up until this point, beautiful, 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 beautiful. Questionable. Here, it would need to really skyrocket into my entry to consider that good, but it ended up trading like that. Nah, this entry is not nice. I don't like this entry at all. Yeah, I don't like this entry. So, two mistakes here. This whole thing was just overextended. Yeah, I don't like it. So, this overall is good context for sure. I do like the context. And, whoa, and good momentum. Here we have good momentum, but possibly overextended. And here, this is definitely overextended. This entry is ugly. And it's ugly. Why? Yeah, I don't like the MB2. Ugly MB2. And it's ugly for multiple reasons. It went on for too long, lost the EMAs, and yeah, it's not really proportional. So this is overall, unfortunately, yet another mistake. Should not have taken this. So, very good context. Here it's questionable because it's possibly overextended. Which we can't really see on the 6 minutes, right? Like, this could still be very good, but then when we zoom into the 1 minute, we can see that it's very ugly, very overextended. And 10-second was a bad entry, simply because MB2 lost EMAs. You know what? I'm just gonna merge all of these together and call it ugly MB2. If I want to add a little bit more detail, I can. Lost EMAs, and too big means vertically, but this one was too long. I guess I can include that too. So this is vertically. Okay. a lot of MB2 specificity here. All good. Moving on, we got another JR30 and I didn't take this one. Why not? No idea. Alright. So we have, was this a JR30 as well? It was. Okay, so here we finally flush out, right? We finally flush out. We lose the momentum cycle. So now, ideally, I would get some kind of stage 1. And, well, let's see. So here, it pulled back to the rising EMAs. So that's pretty nice. So I think this is a 1 minute entry, isn't it? Yeah, it's a 1 minute entry. That makes sense. And this is a tiny little bit below, but it immediately pumps. So I'm okay with that. And here, this would be the MB. And let's see how proportional or not it is. I think this is nice. This is well proportional. EMAs are still rising. It's not too long. It hasn't lost anything. The 50 is a little bit flat. But overall, for a 1 minute entry, I think this is good. Yeah, I think this is a nice 1 minute entry actually. And what happens over here? So yeah, that's a break even. Okay, this trade is nice. I don't mind this trade at all. So this is good context and good momentum. This one is, yeah, that's an MMB. So I'm gonna say this is on good momentum. And here I would say this is, yeah, actually, is it perfect? I'm gonna say it's good. Simply for the reason that the 50 is a little bit flat. Like, I would have loved this whole thing to happen over here. Like, if this thingy happened over here, that would be perfect. So, maybe it was a little bit too deep, but overall, I think it was alright. So, I'm gonna call this trade good. Okay. Good context, good momentum, and good entry. Management-wise, I reduced risk on the second strong candle and risk-free after this fractal structure over here. And yeah, that was perfect. So yeah, that was a good trade. Nice. I wonder why I didn't take it though. Didn't fill that out. Okay, moving on, we got another trade under 30. So let's take a look. Okay, so we are already in a trade over here. And then this starts going quite strongly. This stage 2 is nice and strong. And then it starts flushing out. Here, I didn't consider any entries because, well, it did flash out, but, well, maybe I did consider entries, and the entry would be over here, but that's above the floating supply, so I didn't take that. But here it finally flashes out properly, and yeah, this is the new type of entry. This is exactly why I think I will have so many more entries that are simply not nice. Simply because my idea, my thinking was, when I'm in a reaccumulation, right, which is an area where I'm expecting money to come in, I really want to be with the money as soon as possible. So that is the DTC, right, the directional trigger candle. But the DTC is, okay, so if you have a push that goes sideways, and then you have a DTC, you enter it immediately, right? The difference between the DTC and my entry is that I let this go a little bit, and I'm looking for the small little pullback, and then I enter. So my entry is a little bit further, and I thought, okay, that's awesome. That's like really well refined, and it's exactly what I want to do from a theoretical or conceptual standpoint. But it opens me up to trades like these. And this trade over here, so let's just see. So this would be the MB, and this would be the MB. So it actually looks quite okay. The problem is that the EMAs are still dropping; they're not rising. So it's a little bit too early, in my opinion. If this happened somewhere over here on the rising EMAs, that would be much better. So yeah, it's it's definitely questionable. I do want my EMAs to be rising. I remember, like, I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago, I was thinking a little bit that, hey, the EMAs, they aren't that important because ultimately they are just like a smoothing out of previous candles and they don't necessarily represent price. So I thought it would be much more accurate to represent price by simply looking at the pullback percentage, which is why I was using this FIB tool. But overall, I don't know. Like, I think I just made an unnecessary refinement. This could have been a good entry if it happened just a little bit further. Mm, I don't know what to think about this one. I would want the EMAs to be rising. That's what I'm gonna say about it, I guess. But yeah, overall, all of these things remain the same. Good context, good momentum, all of that on the 10-second, pulling back into the rising EMAs. Everything is nice. We are in a very good area to look for an entry. That's why I looked for an entry. So overall, I'm gonna call it questionable. It's not, it's definitely not perfect. It's not good. It's just questionable. Well, nah, I'm gonna call it ugly. Ultimately, I need to ask myself the question, hey, if I would need to take this entry 1,000 times in a row, would I want to? The answer is no. I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to take this 1,000 times. But yeah, what happens here is, okay, it chops around a little bit, not enough strength for me to break even, but then on this candle over here, on the first one, that creates the inefficiency, the big chunky candle, that's when I reduce risk, and it comes back. Yeah, it comes back. I would have reduced risk completely if it went higher over here, but it didn't, and I suffer a tiny little loss of 0.2 R, which is a very reasonable or a nice punishment to get, not too harsh. Anyway, good context, good momentum on the V, good momentum on the E. It's nice to see all of this. It means that I'm trading in the right areas, but that by itself is not enough. It's a good start because the last step is just the entry criteria, right? But I really need to settle on one entry criteria that is going to be well refined that I'm going to take. And I think I already had it, and I don't really know why I changed things up. I'm just going to stick to those beautiful DMBs that I was used to. I'm going to test some other things as well, but just test them. And until I have full confidence in them in testing, I'm not gonna just randomly implement something into live action. That doesn't make any sense. MB2 lost EMAs, I think. Yeah, management wise was perfect, so it was a mistake because ugly entry. All right, man. Yeah, as expected, there's gonna be a lot of mistakes this week. Sucks to see. But yeah, continuing on, we have another dirt dirty trade. So what happened since then? You can take a look at, I guess, the 1 minute. So the last trade was over here. That went a bit higher and then completely failed, right? Lost its momentum cycle. On the V, we have a creation of an MMB over here pulling back into the rising 1020. So that looks pretty nice. So here, I think this is a 1 minute entry. Okay, it flushes down below everything, and here it creates this entry over here. So I would say this is the MB, and this MB was just straight up ugly, super ugly MB. Uh, so MB1 was okay. MB1 validation was beautiful, but overall, I don't think this had had a chance to look good. This would need to come over here and then pull back like this for me to take it because that would cause the EMAs to start rising and everything. But here instead, okay, so it taps down and instantly pumps back up. That's okay. That's kind of okay, but mm, hmm, yeah, I don't know. I don't like this too much. The EMAs are not even rising; they're just sideways. Yeah, ultimately, I don't like this too much. And it looks like, so what it started doing, it started going sideways a lot. And I think at around this point, I was like, okay, this is definitely not doing what I wanted to. And I set my TP to 0, hoping that I can get out for a break even. And I do, which was very good management wise. I'm glad I did that. So, well, I thought targeted both. Okay, cool. Good context, good momentum, definitely. Still very much good momentum here on the 6 minutes. I do like that. And here, the entry itself, I think this was an ugly entry. Ugly, why? Well, yeah, ugly MB2. MB2 is too big and loses all of its EMAs. So, that's fine. Mistake. Good context, good momentum. Uh, Bad entry. Sec. Ugly entry, and it's ugly because MB2 is ugly. Okay, moving on, we got some UJ trades. Let's take a look. So UJ, I'm gonna sip my coffee. Okay, so UJ, we definitely had some sideways over here. That's always the case when I have this supply area or whatever drawn in. So I wasn't looking for anything here whatsoever. But then eventually it breaks out on big strong momentum. So let's take a look what happens over here. We definitely have some sideways over here as well. Then it breaks out, creates an MMB over here, and here I'm expecting MMB too. Big strong momentum, right? This looks beautiful. Oh, by the way, this is USD CAD, not USD JPY. Huh? Wait a second. What's going on here? So, so I had a JER30 trade here. That was the break even. Ah, I see, I see. USD CAD. Okay, okay. Yeah, USD CAD. I didn't take that because I was following another asset. Okay, okay. So first of all, I need to add that here. Yeah, I didn't take this USD CAD trade because I was following JER30, I think, and I was simply not ready to take this. Okay, makes sense. But yeah, back to the analysis. So MB1, MB2, right? And I'm expecting this to go higher. So as this pulls back, I'm looking for a 1-minute entry. And what do we have here? We have a nice little reaccumulation, loses its momentum cycle. I would say this was the MB that it came from. We have a beautiful validation over here. And this is, I think this was beautiful. This was really, really, really nice. Yeah, a nice MB underneath the EMAs, strong MB1 validation, proportional MB2 that doesn't lose the rising EMAs, and continuation higher. This was awesome. I love this trade. And this goes to, I don't know what this is, maybe like 3.54 RR, and then comes back to BE. Okay, so this is really good context overall. I like this context a lot, and it has really good momentum. Beautiful momentum here on the V. Like, this is very strong. This is exactly what I want to see. And this entry was, in my opinion, absolutely perfect. Perfect entry. Okay, that means this was a perfect trade, but I didn't take it. Okay. Good, good. It was a 1 minute entry, so good entry. And here I would have reduced risk on this second candle. Again, I'm using already the spreads from Ment Funding. Ment Funding spread for USD CAD is 1 tick, so that's beautiful. And yeah, after it creates this fractal structure and moves higher, that's when I reduce risk completely and it comes back. So management wise, that was perfect as well. Deserves a perfect. Cool. And yeah, max RR was 372. So moving on to UJ trades now. So on UJ, we have an ongoing uptrend with beautiful rising 50 EMA. It's a little bit choppy for my liking, but this last push here was really, really nice, leaving behind some inefficiencies and stuff and pulling back perfectly to the rising 1020. So let's take a look what happened over here. This one, honestly, looking at it on the V, I don't like it too much, but that's okay because I wasn't really taking any trades in here whatsoever. So I think this overall disqualified me from trading this entire range. I didn't have any trades in here, but here it looks like it's starting to expand out of this range into a new one, and that means that I'm valid to start following it. So here on the 1 minute, what do we have? We probably have some kind of accumulation over here, and then we have, I would say, MMB1, MMB2, and this would be MMB3. So I don't think this was overextended, and I think maybe this was a blow off top. I'm not entirely sure. I just thought I could probably squeeze in one more trade. This is probably the last area where I would have looked for a trade. And here I go to the 10-second and I look for an entry. Big strong momentum, right? Good stage 2 to follow, definitely. Here, first things first, I'm looking for a break below the 20 and an MB creation there. So here's the MB, I would say. Now let's take a look if that was actually proportional. I would say that was proportional. Rising EMAs and everything. This is pretty nice. I think this trade is good. And I get tapped in and it goes in my direction. And here on UJ, for some reason, yeah, I still used the old spread, I believe. No, sorry, this uh, is it? This was a very, very tight stop. Yeah. Well, I don't reduce my risk completely here, even though there is an argument that I should have. Especially after all of this happened. Like, yeah, this should have just continued. I should have reduced my risk completely, but I only reduced risk the first time to my intended entry. And that was over here. So, yeah, because I see what I did here. Okay. So the spread on Ment Funding is, I think, 4 ticks or some stuff, which would be something like this. And I used the full like 12, 14, whatever FXCM is. And that's like, you can see that's almost like half of my entire stop loss. It's 0.4. So that's huge. I don't know why I did that in the first place. I should have just went with the Ment Funding stuff. But anyway, I thought, okay, I want to give this space to come back over here and still go up, right? Because if it comes here and it taps me out, that's stupid because it should continue. So that was my thinking behind it. But honestly, after I saw this price development over here, I really should have reduced risk completely. But I didn't, and I took minus 0.4 on it. So if anything, there was a mistake in management here. But other than that, I think this trade was actually really, really nice. So good momentum over here, good momentum over here, amazing momentum over here. And I think this entry was actually beautiful. I really do. So perfect EMB. So overall, this trade was perfect. I'm just gonna say that there was a mistake in management. And again, if I was executing this live or on the actual forward test on Ment Funding, I would not have taken such a big loss. I would take maybe a 0.15 or something like that. Yeah, like 3 times less. So 0.1 to 0.2. So yeah, management didn't reduce risk properly. But overall, I'm gonna call this trade perfect, but I'm also gonna add this little management thingy here so I'm aware. Okay, so moving on, I guess I continue following this. What happens over here on UJ? Mm-mm. Is this the same stuff? Let me see. Is this a whole different day or some stuff? What's going on here? 22. We are here. Uh, this is. I'm a little bit confused. What's going on over here? Is this the same chart? Should have zoomed out here a little bit more. This looks like a completely different day, though. Ah, yeah, it is. It is. This is the 21st. This is 22nd. Okay, I see. So here on this day, what do we have? So we had this initial impulse that pulled back into the rising EMAs and starts going higher. That's exactly what we want to see. We can see some kind of stage one happening over here. Wasn't interested in trading that. But then all of a sudden it breaks into a new range, leaves behind inefficiency. On the 1 minute, we can see that this is beautiful. But here, what does it do here? So here it loses its EMAs a bit. So, yeah, I should not have traded this. Hmm. Should I? I guess I was arguing. I saw a lot of wicks over here. So I thought, okay, this is still showing demand. So I was okay trading that. And what did I do over here? So let me see. So if this whole thing was an MMB, right, then this was the stage 2 that I was looking for. And then we probably had an MB over here, which I'm sure I was looking to trade, but I didn't get an entry. And then it broke down even lower, and then it created this. Uh, and yeah, this was this new type of entry that I was talking about, where whenever I see big impulse in the reaccumulation area, I just want to be there because I bet this is a DTC, right? So somebody would get tapped in over here, and here I get my tiny little pullback, and I wanted to enter. And I mean, it does make sense, but I need to take into consideration that this whole thing is DMB and I wouldn't be able to enter like this. But I take this entry and this one actually, oh my god, I remember this one. I was so hateful about that because this literally misses my TP by a single tick. By a single fucking tick. Yeah, that sucked. But either way, I don't think I should have taken this entry. I don't think I should have taken it. The entry should have happened over here. That would have been perfect. If this whole thing, well, again, the MB2 is not proportional to this, and yeah, nah, I should not have taken this entry. Very simple. Even though this ends up working nicely, I should not have taken it. So that's ultimately how I'm going to approach it. Anyway, it was good momentum definitely on the C. Good momentum on the V, breaking out from a stage 1 into a new range. And here we do have good momentum. Well, actually, I will say that momentum fizzled here. When I say good momentum, I'm referring to the stage 2 that's previous, and that one is very good. But here, I will simply say that this fizzled. If anything, I should have traded this when it comes up here and creates an MMB, and maybe there would be an entry on the 10-second. Let me actually see if that was the case. So here, let me see. So I guess that would be over here, but for entry, I need the momentum cycle to fall below the 1020. So that doesn't really happen, and I wouldn't get an additional entry over here. So yeah, all good. Momentum fizzled here on the 1 minute, which means I was not supposed to even drop down to the 10-second, but I did. And on the 10-second, this was not my entry. Yeah, definitely not my entry. Simply because this whole thing is DMB, and I need it to be at least a little bit symmetrical. I mean, a little bit proportional, which it wasn't. So yeah, good context, good momentum. Uh, 1 minute ugly. Do I have fizzled momentum here? I should. Ugly, choppy, weak. Nope, I don't have it here, so I'm gonna have to add it. Momentum fizzled. All right. Momentum fizzled, and 10-second was also ugly. Bad entry. Why? Not my setup. Do I have that here? Yep, not my setup, definitely. And MB2. Ugly MB2, I guess. It's one of the rare ones. MB2 too small. Wow, so many MB2 specificities. Alright. So ultimately this was a mistake. I must have momentum fizzled here, don't I? Wow, I don't. That's crazy. Alright, momentum fizzled. There we go. And not my setup. Alright. How many more? 8 more trades. Cool. Let's move on. Oh yeah, I made some drawings over here simply because I needed, at this point, I was already getting a little bit frustrated and I really wanted to like what's the word I'm looking for? Not redefine, but basically remind myself how do I actually want to be entering. And yeah, I mean, we all know this, right? Looking for some strong move away from a stage 1 on C. On the V, looking for big momentum that pulls back to rising EMAs. I'll probably draw in the EMA over here. And on E, simply looking for a proportional MB. And I'm not quite sure about the containment line so much. Like ideally, it would happen above the containment line where the MB1 validation takes us above not just the EMAs but also a containment line. That's something I'm not completely sure about. And here I was just drawing like how the perfect entries pretty much look like. Yeah. All right, moving on. What's next? Bitcoin break even. Okay. Oh yeah, I remember this one. So, before I get into this, let's do the analysis first. So Bitcoin, right? I know Bitcoin is extremely bullish. I know that. And here this was kind of like, well, this was really choppy. I did not like this. But then it went higher and pulled back into the rising 1020 EMA. And I was looking for an entry over here. So here on the 6 minute, we have some kind of containment line, some kind of stage 1, right? And I'm wondering. So here it breaks out, it pulls back, and I was trading this on the 1 minute. I don't know. I don't know about this. Like, seems pretty obvious to me that this was still part of the stage 1, and I probably should not have traded here at all. I should have waited for this to come higher and then maybe trade here. Yeah, this was too early for sure. But anyway, on the E, we had a strong push up. Then it goes lower, reaccumulates, right? This is all nice and good, and then big impulsive move, pulls back a tiny little bit, and that's where I would take my entry. First of all, I really think this is way too high. Mm, yeah, I think this is way too high on the E itself. Let's just see what happens over here. It starts chopping quite a bit, doesn't tap me out, then it starts moving higher, and I end up taking a break even. So quite a bit wrong with this, I think. So let's say good momentum over here, but here this is a stage one trade, 100%. This is stage one. That's not good. That's a mistake. And here on the entry itself, uh, let me just draw this here as well, because this is the MB. Boop. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, it doesn't look proportional whatsoever. It's just a tiny little pause. Uh, I'm just gonna say that this was not good. So ugly entry, MB2 too high, I would say. Okay, let's take a look. All right, and this is what I wanted to get into. So this comment over here, to be honest, I should probably stop trading Bitcoin on the 1 minute. Spread is too high and it's choppy as fuck most of the time. So here you can see with my entries over here, I don't really account for spread. And even on Mint Funding, the spread is pretty huge. And most importantly, it's extremely volatile. It's not a stable spread as on, let's say, EU or J30 or gold. All of those have very stable spread, and it's extremely rare to see it deviate in any way whatsoever. But Bitcoin spread just keeps moving like crazy. Um, so that by itself, like volatile spread, is in my opinion an absolute scam. But anyway, what I wanted to get to is I filtered out all of my trades on crypto. So that's mostly Bitcoin, Ethereum. I think I maybe had a few trades on something else like Sol or whatever, because I already reached the conclusion that trading anything else than these super liquid coins is basically impossible on the low time frame. But now I have reached the conclusion that even Bitcoin and Ethereum is not really meant to be traded on the 1 minute. I just think that overall the price action is extremely choppy, and I don't think it's meant to be traded. Maybe I could trade it on the 6 minute, maybe. I'm not entirely sure, but what I currently believe is that I should be trading cryptos and many other things, but mostly cryptos, on at least a 1 hour entry. So I was thinking that in the future, if I want to trade cryptos, I should use the 1 week, 1 day, 1 hour EVC. I used to trade cryptos a lot before Bent FX, and I was entering on the 4 hour, and that was working really nicely. I just think that there is so much noise, and the general illiquidity of the market just causes it to be super wicky. And just from my experience of trying to trade this now for what I'm forward testing last year for 4 months, now for 5 months already, 9 months of testing and having trades on Bitcoin and Ethereum, the performance is really bad, and I'm most of the time just getting chopped up. So I made it as a definitive uh, decision for myself that from now on I will no longer look for low time frame trades on any cryptos whatsoever. It's not worth it. So I might look at 1 hour entries alongside other cryptos, because at that point those are easily tradable. Spread is not going to affect me. So 1 hour or 4 hour entries are completely fine. But I do not want to trade it on the low time frame anymore. So this is the last Bitcoin trade you will ever see from me on the low time frames. So yeah, quite a few mistakes here on the Bitcoin trade. Mostly the stage one here. That was bad. That was really, really bad. Anyway, management wise, I reduce risk over here, and yeah, then it comes all the way back. So I think overall the 60 was good context, but the 6 minute was ugly because it was in stage one, and the 1 minute was ugly entry because it was, what was this? Uh, why was it ugly? Eh. Because MB2 was too high. All right. Cool. So ultimately, this is a mistake, stage one trade, and it's not really my setup. Okay, moving on, we have, oh wait, not yet, not yet. I need to, so what happened with this UJ trade? This UJ trade was a mistake. Cool. So mistake and mistake on the Bitcoin trade as well. So here we have a JER30. Let me just find the last JER30 trade we had just to see what was happening. Okay, so we had this deeper flush and a violent move away. So here, I think that's over here. So that was the deeper flush and a violent move away, and then it starts chopping again. Honestly, I should not have traded here just looking at this because this looks like a big stage one. I guess I saw it like this and I didn't include this part, and I thought, okay, this looks like it's moving away from that stage one, especially since this had nice momentum. Yeah, I guess that's what I saw, but already the context here is a bit questionable because it's in a bigger stage one sideways market and it hasn't uh, quite broken into a new range. So probably not the best, honestly. But let's take a look further. Here on the V, so we had this big push that pulls back into the EMAs. There is a little bit below, but it instantly pumps, so that's okay. I'm fine with that. And here we have good momentum on the V, so that's nice. And here we break into a new high, so I'm going to be analyzing this push over here, and this push looks very nice, but it completely loses its momentum cycle. So I'm expecting some kind of stage one and a breakout away. So if anything, I think this should be a 1 minute entry. I see. So this is one, and this is another MB that pulls back into the rising 1020. So here, if I get a DMB on the 1 minute, I should be valid to trade it. So I guess that's what I got. And here is MB1. Decent validation, I would say. And this is MB2. I think this is alright. I think this is not bad. If anything, I guess... Nah, I think this is fine. This is a good entry. Yeah. So, is this a break even? Yeah. Okay. I think this is not bad at all. But the problem here is the context. It does not surprise me that this doesn't have the follow through that I would expect from a delivering market, simply because it's not really a delivering market, right? It's a chopping market. So that's the first time that I'm actually not happy with my context. Yeah, bad context, stage one. Here, I would say this was still good momentum. And here, this entry, I do like this entry. This entry is good. Good DMB. The EMAs, they're a little bit flat. A little bit. That's why I don't call it perfect. It's just good. Does make sense, but it's definitely not perfect. So, another mistake here. Blech, man, I really need to focus on performing better. But I would say this week, I was just very, very confused this week. That's mostly the reason why I have so many mistakes. So, yeah, this is ugly context because it's a stage one. V, no. V, good momentum, I would say. And E is good entry. I got risk-free. I used a 10-second here to determine my risk-free. And that comes back to break even, so that's nice. But ultimately, it's a mistake because I was trading in stage 1. So that sucks. Alright, now some GU trade. Let's take a look. So, GU. Ongoing bullish market. Stage 1 breaks out over here and big momentum, right? Here, some kind of flush, definitely a reset. Strong move. And here it just starts chopping a little bit. I don't like that chop at all. But there's an argument to be made that this was a move and here it had a reset. That's how I saw it. Then big momentum and I see. So what I was doing here is I saw this as a pullback into the rising 1020, I guess. And here I was looking for 1 minute entry. Oh shit. I clicked on back too many times. Sorry. And yeah, I was looking for 1 minute entry and I was looking for this. Okay. So here's the stage 2. This does not look at all what I'm used to. Usually I like to see a strong stage 2 that flushes into reaccumulation. This looks like it's part of a stage 1. This looks choppy as fuck. This looks choppy as fuck. I should not have traded here. Simple as that. Okay. So definitely good momentum over here on the context. I do like the context. The V is questionable because it started chopping a little bit. Like entries over here made a lot of sense, all over here. But then it didn't have any like proper follow through. This was the same line, right? And here it just started chopping. But I guess I argued that this was the entry. And if that was the case, then I should have looked for a 10-second entry somewhere over here because this would be an MMB and continue it higher. So I was supposed to look for an entry over here, but this fails. Nah, this is so bad. This is so bad. Definitely choppy. This, yeah, this lost its momentum cycle. So momentum fizzled. Sorry. Just gonna write a message that I cannot accept this call right now. And yep, this was supposed to be a 10-second. Was supposed to be a 10-second entry. Okay, and on the 10-second, yeah, this was not right whatsoever, because in order to have a 10-second entry, I need to have a momentum cycle active, and this one fizzled. So yeah, all kinds of mistakes over here. Okay. Yeah, good context. Ugly momentum fizzled. 1 minute, ugly momentum fizzled. And management-wise, oh, was this a break even? Okay, it's a small little loss, so I didn't get punished too much for it. But I guess this was good. Yeah. Mistake. I'm also gonna say stage 1 over here. Most importantly, momentum fizzled. And stage 1. So yeah, not very happy with that. Next up, we have USD CAD. This looks amazing, just on the context. Very good momentum, very strong market. Here on the V, what do we have? We have this that breaks down lower a little bit, but looks like it's nothing special. But here it breaks into a new range and creates an MMB. So I guess I'm looking for a 1 minute entry over here. And let's see what happens over here. So looks like this is some kind of stage 1 over here. Then it breaks out. Looks like this is MMB1 and this is MMB2. Okay. Okay. So I think what's going on here? So this is the I see. So here I'm looking at the 10 seconds for an entry, I guess. Okay, that does make sense. And here, as we pull back, what do we have? So it seems like this is definitely an MB over here. This is some weird shit. I don't quite know what to think about this. So this does not look like my regular entry at all. I mean, I understand what I was looking for here. I see that this started chopping below some containment line and I wanted to take this away, but I'm trying to define the MBs over here. I would say maybe like this was an MB and I'm already like making it a bit smaller than it's supposed to be. And this, I mean, the EMAs are rising. I mean, yeah, it's I'd say it's questionable. I mean, it does make sense. The MB validation over here was pretty strong. Yeah, this is alright. I think this is alright. Huh. Okay. Yeah, this is okay. So good momentum over here for sure. Good momentum on the 1 minute. Just checking. Okay, it's not overextended. This looks like it's MMB2. And here, it's not perfect, but it's a good entry. So overall, I'm gonna say this was good. And that ends up being a loss. I wonder if there was an argument to be made that I could have moved. Nah, I couldn't. I couldn't have moved to break even. Nope. Okay, so good context, good momentum, and the 10 second is a bit questionable. Management was perfect, and overall, I'd say it's good. All right, last 4 trades, EU. So EU, let's see what's going on over here. So we have an ongoing trend that flushes out. We have probably some kind of stage 1, I would say somewhere over here. Then it finally breaks out on good momentum. So here we have an ugly, choppy bullshit that flushes out. And then, yeah, this is probably a reset, right? And then I think this could continue higher. Also, looks like we just took that liquidity above. So that's a little bit sketch, a little bit sus. But yeah. Okay. So here we have the impulse that pulls back. You can see that over here, big strong move, right? Pulls back into the rising 1020 EMA, and then it looks like I have an MB over here, and I would need to see a similar MB over here, which I would say this is. But honestly, this validation is ugly. It's just, blech. This is horrible. This is so bad. I remember I was thinking maybe I should have taken this entry over here, where this would be the MB1 and this would be the MB2. And that would probably be okay, I guess. Not too bad. It wouldn't be perfect, for sure. But it would definitely be better than this. Yeah, this is bad. This is really, really bad. I don't want to be taking trades like this. If this happened in a more impulsive way, then I would be okay with it. But this is just so choppy. I don't like it. And also, I really don't like all of this. This is just, ugh. And it's hard to see, right? Because on the 1 hour, it looks really good. It looks like it's bullish. It looks like it's moving pretty strongly. But actually, like all of this, and this has been a repeating thing for quite a while. I remember I saw a lot of trades already that move in a way like this and then have a little flush and all of a sudden start looking good again, but they actually end up not working. And I think the reason for that is probably this. So, yeah, not the best. So here, I would say this is good momentum for sure. But here, I'm going to say this is very choppy. Here, this is good momentum for sure on the 1 minute. But this, the entry itself, this is an ugly entry. And it's ugly because the MB1 validation is ugly. It's not impulsive. Well, not impulsive means it's weak. So it's weak. That's ultimately how I'm going to approach it. So yeah, good context. Ugly, ugly V, simply because it's choppy. 1 minute had good momentum for sure, but the 10 seconds, the entry was an ugly entry. It was ugly because it was weak. Yeah, it was weak. It wasn't really my setup. So ultimately, it was a mistake because it was choppy and it was not really my setup. Okay. Cool. Moving on to gold. Hashtag hate. It's another one where I would have taken 5R because it didn't reach 6. But yeah. Stage 1 over here breaks out. Good momentum cycle. Momentum cycle fails, expecting a stage 1. Breaks out of the stage 1. Beautiful MMB over here and now expanding out of that MMB. Huge momentum on the V. Looks good. And here we have on the 1 minute huge momentum going up. Pulls back into the rising 1020. Looks very good. I come over here and whoops. This is MB1. Very strong validation. I mean, it's just a few candles, so even one candle break is okay for me in this case. Above the EMAs, looks like they start rising. If this taps in, they're definitely rising. This is good. This looks very, very good. And yeah, this goes higher and reaches, I don't know, 5.18. So I would have had beautiful profit if I took TP at 5, which I will be from now on. But overall, I think this trade was perfect. So yeah, good momentum over here on the context. Very good momentum on the 6 minute. Very good momentum on the 1 minute. Hello? Okay, there we go. And I would say this was a perfect DMB. So that was a perfect trade. Cool. And 2 more trades. Actually, let me mark this all up. Well, it's a perfect trade, so it gets all the yellow stuff. And yeah, regarding risk management, yeah, I took the screenshot too late. I actually reduced risk on this candle, on this chunky one. Risk-free after this little pullback and a breakout above. And yeah, management was perfect as well. So yeah, this was perfect. Okay. Yeah, 2 more trades. So continuation on gold, right? This goes higher as expected. We can see this trade over here. That was the previous trade. and here it breaks into a new high and pulls back into the rising 1020 EMA. Looks pretty nice. Here we can see this stage 2 is very strong. Big chunky candles, generally above the EMA's acceleration away. Yep, I really like this stage 2. Now it starts pulling back, and here we have some kind of, what is this? I would say this whole thing was an MB, and we get this, and this is not enough. This is not good. This was not good enough. Too small. MB2 is too small compared to the MB1. It is above the EMAs and everything, yeah, but nah, I don't like this. The entry itself is not too good. Also, I really don't like how it got choppy over here, but that's not necessarily a big problem. This is a problem. So everything here stays the same. Boom. Yep. But here I'm gonna call this ugly entry. By the way, this should be perfect entry. All right. Ugly entry simply because MB2 is too small. Yeah. So good context, good momentum, ugly entry, bad entry. Why? MB2 too small. Yeah. Management wise, nothing to do. So yeah, ultimately this is a mistake because ugly entry. Yep. MB2. Ugly MB2. I'm gonna call that. Alright. So mistake. Okay. And last trade again on gold. Let's take a look what happened, I guess, here on the 1 minute. Okay, so here on the 1 minute we fail down, and I take an entry here. What the fuck? Oh, is that a 1 minute entry? I see. Because here I take this. This is an MMB, and I'm expecting this to be another MMB, I suppose. Yep. And because of that, I'm pretty much valid to take 1 minute DMBs. So here we have a 1 minute DMB, right? So this would be the MB1. This would be MB2. And this looks good. This looks okay. Yeah, this looks totally fine. And this starts going in my direction. I reduce risk once, and I take a small little spread loss of 0.1. So yeah, this trade was good. That was okay. So definitely, oh yeah, no, I don't want that. So good momentum on both of these time frames, and I would say, yeah, this was pretty much perfect. Perfect entry. So I would say this was a perfect trade. Okay. And I didn't take it. Totally missed this one. I see. Forgot to follow. Alright. Well, that happens. So, didn't take. Cool. Good context. Good momentum. Good entry. Management-wise, reduced risk after these two strong candles. Didn't get to reduce completely. Everything was followed perfectly. So, yeah, this was a perfect trade. Alright. And we are done. Oh man, I don't even want to do this, but I'm gonna have to do this. How many mistakes? I'm thinking, so I have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 21 trades. I think at least half of them are gonna be mistakes. Yeah, let's see. 4, 8, yeah, 10 of them are mistakes. So, ugly entry, overextended, ugly entry, momentum fizzled, stage 1, choppy, ugly entry. Wow. Very bad performance. Very, very bad performance this week. Not happy with that at all. Only thing that's good about this is that it's happening in my forward test while I'm still gathering experience. So that's ultimately how I'm going to approach this. I'm going to approach this as experience. I don't want to be mad at myself, but of course I want to like take accountability, take responsibility for this and try my best to perform better because if I continue executing like this, there's no way. There's no way I'm going to be able to do this full time profitably. I need to tidy this up. And yeah, I am well aware of what happened this week. I changed up my entry a little bit and that just confused the living hell out of me. I've been growing more and more frustrated by the fact that so many trades are reaching almost my target but don't quite tap me, and that I missed some trades that were supposed to get me into profit. Like the thing is, if I had executed perfectly these all of these weeks, I would have done amazing. I keep saying that maybe this is not the best time to trade because of this and that, maybe because the trumpet is causing markets to be uncertain and the markets are dry and not all of the composite entities are consistent in their market behavior of like buying things up or whatnot, and that like markets don't follow through. These are all excuses, I think. These are all just excuses to maybe make me feel a little bit better about myself, but ultimately it all comes down to how I execute. And if I had followed momentum properly during the right contexts, during the right times in the market when there is momentum, when there is like strong indications that money is coming in, when somebody is indeed pressing the buy button, there was plenty of opportunity for me to extract some profit out of it without taking too many losses. I know that for a fact, and I can't just be making excuses. That sucks. If I take a look at my forward test currently, I'm in a pretty deep drawdown. Last week I had like a plus 11 week, I believe, and pretty much all of the profits from last week were deleted now. So that sucks. But overall, like I've made I've been so unlucky and I made so many unnecessary mistakes during this period that it makes it's no surprise at all that my equity curve is going sideways and potentially starting to go down. But I believe that if if I make sure that I follow my rules strictly and I don't make these mistakes, I think I'm going to resume going up for sure. There is absolutely no reason to grow depressed or anything. This is a challenging thing, yes, I know that, but it would be too easy if there wasn't any struggle, right? I need to struggle. This is the struggle. This is part of my job, and I simply need to execute better. That's all it is about. Just need to execute the way that I want to. Take less trades, but make sure that they are high quality trades. All right. So let's also take a look at how many perfect trades I had. Not too many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look, if I only took these perfect trades, yeah, I would have a spread loss, three spread losses, and two BEs. So that would be like what 0. 0.6 minus 0. 0.6 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trades. Yeah, I would be at minus 1.6 if I had executed perfectly. If I also included good trades, that's all. That's just one more trade, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, for two more trades, I believe. That would be another break even over here, and another minus one. All right, not too bad. Would definitely be better than like look at all of these mistakes. Minus one, spread loss, break even. Minus one, spread loss, break even, minus one, minus one. 1, 2, 3. Well, actually, I can just Look at the -1 results over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I would save myself 5R, and that's a lot. That's a lot in the long term. Like making these mistakes repeatedly is just gonna eat away from my profit so much. I need to make sure that I eliminate these ugly entries, ugly entries, choppy markets. Okay, overextended. That's a very, very rare one. That almost never happens. And ugly entries. Makes total sense that most of my mistakes come from ugly entries because that's what I changed this week. And I think that change was simply, it was created from me being a little bit frustrated throughout these weeks, and I was not supposed to do that. So I'm going to revert this change back. I'm going to continue entering the same way I was entering back when I was having my one-on-one with Anton. I think those DMBs were really well refined and really pretty, and most importantly, very effective. So that's what I'm gonna do. So one last thing I want to do is to go through this. So what went well? Uh, well, I guess what I can do is I can take a look at the perfect trades and see what went well. So in these perfect trades, well, all of this went well, right? So I know that I followed really good contexts, so I'm gonna go over this. All these contexts I think are beautiful, except for maybe one. Yes, this one J30 trade was an ugly context. All of these other contexts are looking very, very good. All of these are trending and delivering markets. Yeah, I like all of these trades. So what went well was generally really good context. Okay. Wow, I definitely did not like my ease. What else went well? I think generally I followed momentum really well. So let me take a look at the 6 minute as well. I think the 6 minutes are generally going to be good. Maybe a few stage ones here and there. And yeah, by the way, this one is just. I need to make a note about this one because this is a repeating pattern. I have spotted this to not work many times. So, mm, where do I include this? Okay, I'm going to include that later. So let me go through the V's first. Generally, what I want to see is big candles, big momentum, lots of these little yellow boxes, right? Because those show inefficiency. Okay, this is the one stage one trade on Bitcoin, which was trash. But all of the other ones are really good in terms of momentum. And this is important, right? This is important because we go down in a cascading manner from the C to the V to the E. And having beautiful and perfect E's in isolation means absolutely nothing. They need to all be paired together or connected together with perfect contexts and validations as well. So making sure that my context and validation is good is super, super important. And all that means is that I don't need to change anything there. I just need to make sure that my entries are actually good on the E itself. And once I can do that, I will make sure that I have good entries in good delivering markets with good momentum. If I can do all of that together, I think that's it. That's all I need to do. So yeah, I'm very happy generally with my V's. But yeah, what went bad? This is gonna be more important. Horrible E's this week. Traded some choppy markets. Traded a few stage ones. And here I want to make this note. Don't trade these setups. And I'm going to put it over here so I can take a look at this. Yep. And I'm also going to write something. Choppy prior to clean momentum. Yeah. Anything else that went bad? Let me just real quick go to the mistakes one more time. Ugly entries. Yeah, and momentum fizzled a few times, I see. Momentum fizzled a few times. I guess I can make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so I know the results are -10, right? And if I filtered mistakes, I guess I can actually do that here. That's going to be way faster. So, okay, I'm going to do tag does not contain mistakes. So here I should see everything without mistakes. All right, so let's go ahead and see just how many trades that would be. First of all, I want to make sure it does not contain didn't take. Yeah, so didn't take. 4, 8, 12, 15 trades, right? 16? Why 16? Okay, let me take a look. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, 21 minus all that didn't take. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it's supposed to be 16 trades, which I included here. So I must have made a mistake in tagging somewhere. All right, I'm gonna have to go through this. So let's see. So didn't take here. It's 1. Then there was another. Actually, let's go. Does contain. Didn't take. Okay, so the JER30 win. Then there is a Euro USD break even. Yep. Then there is a JER30 break even. Yep. Then there is another JER30 break even. I think I didn't include the USD CAD. There is a gold break even. There is the USD CAD that I didn't take. That's this one. And before that, there is another JER30 that I did not take, and it was the only one that was good. Oh, it's this one. So why is this? What's going on here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 didn't takes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I only have 5 here. Hello? How weird is this? 1, 2. That's the Euro USD. And then there should be 2 JER30 trades that I didn't take. There's one here. Okay, so there is a JER30 trade that I did not take. So there is this BE and another BE. So which one is this? It's this one. Okay. Is it this one? No. Was it a mistake? Uh-huh, it was. I think it's this one. Yep, it's this one. Okay, makes sense. Oop. Didn't take. Cool. So now I have 6 didn't takes here, which means that this was actually not accurate. So I'm supposed to have 15 trades. So now does not contain 4, 8, 12, 15. Okay, so I'm actually supposed to have 15 trades here. 15 times 0.2, so it's actually just minus 9.8 this week. Okay, now it makes sense. 0 wins, 6 BEs, and this trade that I did not take was a BE. Okay, so there's one less BE over here. 5 BEs. Cool. Nice. So now what I can do is does not contain didn't take and does not contain mistake. And now I can actually go through it. Can it please load up? Okay, thank you. So does not contain didn't take and does not contain mistake. Why are there only a few trades here? What's going on? Reset. Yeah, I don't know. My Notion is just loading. Like, I might have some internet issues. I don't know what's going on. So does not contain mistake and does not contain didn't take. Oh. Oh, really? Wow. Okay, so huh. All right. Cool. And I didn't take means I should actually take. Okay, so cool. I'm just gonna filter out mistakes. Let's go over that. So first, there were no wins, I believe. Yeah, there was one win, but I was not trading that day. So that's okay. I cannot do that. So let's count all the BEs. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 BEs. Sorry, this took a bit long, but yeah, I need to be accurate with this. So 5 BEs. That stays the same. Spread losses, there's 3. 3 spread losses. And losses, there's only 1. And 1 loss. So that equals 5, 8, 9 trades. 9 trades versus 15 trades, right? That's quite a difference. So that's nothing 3 times 0.2. 3 times 0.2 minus 1 minus 9 times 0.2. So that is 12 times 0.2. That's 2.4, I believe. So minus 3.4 is the final result. So that's quite a steep difference. Had I executed perfectly. And now, if I was actually taking TP at 5, I would be in really, really nice profit. So that's that. And last thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to have to really, really pay attention to this, is this. So what to focus on next week? All of this is still very, very much relevant, but pay attention to perfect entries. Okay? This is going to be the number one thing that I need to pay attention to. And my entry, very simply, is going to be, once it breaks down, I want to see a similar sized MB to a similar sized MB. So if this is my MB1, I want to have a strong validation of that MB1 and I want that MB2 to be very, very proportional. I'm going to write this down here. MB1 below EMAs, strong MB1 validation, MB2 similar size, MB2 doesn't lose EMAs. Make this wider. Okay. These are the main points for my entries. This is how I want my entries to look like, and that's what I'm ultimately going to focus on. So this is, I already know this is going to be a super, super long video, but it's so important for me to get this right. So I need to spend time on this. I need to drill this in my head. It's just, there's no way around it. I'm quite unhappy with how I executed here, but once again, I'm gonna try my best to actually make this a learning experience rather than just being mad at myself, because that doesn't, like, getting emotional in a performance-based activity just makes you tilt more. I don't want to be in long-term tilt. I want to be responsible. I want to approach all of my training very responsibly and look for solutions rather than excuses and crying about not getting the results that I want. Essentially, this week I did not deserve good results because I wasn't executing properly. So let's execute well, and hopefully next week is going to be better. So yeah, that's all. 2 hours. Peace out.